Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at 435 West Gloucester Street here in Gladstone. We're checking the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. My monitor just died on me a second ago, that's why we're coming into the line at 94 feet. So I'm hoping my original video recording got saved. If not, we're going to do this as we come back. So we just transitioned there from 3034 PVC pipe over to what appears to be clay pipe. I did notice at the top of the pipe, you have a crack going across it. And this little joint right here may do us in, this is an extremely awkward clean out access to go through, and at almost 100 feet, I don't have a lot of leverage to shove over even minor stuff like this. I'm amazed we made it. Look at that. I think this may be the last final turn. When I just barely get a glimpse around that turn, it almost looks like the opening to the main. That's as far as we're going to be able to get there. But I catch a glimpse here and there of just past this joint the camera's stopping up on that looks like an opening to a main lateral. And at the distance we are from the home right now, it would not surprise me at all. So we're going to go locate here and see where we are, but that's as far as we're going to be able to go here today. You'd have to have a clean out access much closer than that to have enough oomph to jump over that turn there. Yeah, I can't see very well past it, but that looks like the pipe opens up there. All right, located the camera head successfully. We are like smack dab in the middle of Gloucester. I'm locating this directly over the yellow dividing lines out in the middle of the street. And when I look up the roadway from where I took that locate, we're almost perfectly in line with the manhole down the street. So I do believe that if we were able to jump around that last joint there, we would be in the main lateral or in it within about a foot or so. But it's very common at the last second just before connecting to the main, you have a 22-degree turn right as it connects onto the main lateral. Where it's at in the roadway, moving straight out there, it really doesn't make a lot of sense for it to be veering around anything at that point. So I think that's what that is there. All right, so again, we have the crack in the pipe right here. That is at about 95 feet. We are having an absolute monsoon of a rainstorm out there. The road is just covered in standing water. So unfortunately, I can't put paint down on the ground right now. But anytime I've got a crack in the pipe, I'm going to recommend a repair on it. As this one sits, though, it is not affecting functionality. The crack's at the top of the pipe, I don't see anything coming down the sidewall. And when I look at that crack, I don't see any obvious water staining coming through it. You know, a lot of times you get a crack that perforates to the ground. You're going to get mineral deposits where water is seeping through. And the top of the pipe there looks very clean. It wouldn't be weird to see a super clean crack in the flow line where water's constantly moving through the line, cleaning things up. The top of the pipe never sees water. So the fact that it's that clean, I think that crack is being held so tightly in place that it hasn't truly opened up to the ground. But you have a crack there nonetheless. And again, that's going to be in the roadway. And I can't remember out here off the top of my head if the city takes responsibility in the roadway or not. That's worth looking into. They might. And in circumstances where cities are responsible, it's relatively uncommon for them to go after a crack like that that's not affecting functionality. So don't be surprised if you don't see them jump on it and do a repair on it. You've got a lot of buildup here at the top of the pipe. You may have an issue at this point. There's too much buildup there to even tell. But this goes along with the cleaning. I would run a hydrojet in this case would probably be the best way to go. Clean all the buildup out of the line and then go back in and rescope. Because that spot there, when you get these hard downward angles like this, water doesn't always stay in the flow line. It'll often lift off the pipe, and especially a high volume water like a toilet flush will shoot up and hit the top of the pipe. So it's possible, due to the physics of the line, the way it's oriented, that may be why you're getting all that buildup there. But you may also have something like a crack or some issue that's causing stuff to collect there. The line here, if you're curious, it exits out the right side of the home. I describe all this as if you're standing in the street looking at the front door. About mid-span on the right side is where the line exits, turns, and then shoots out to the street from there. So spots like this, I can tell we do have standing water. This is almost 70 feet out from the home, and with grease occupying almost half the flow line width, you know, you're working with maybe a quarter, maybe as much as a ½ inch of standing water here. Yeah, it's getting close to 3/4 of an inch. It might be as much as that, but I have a feeling when you get that grease cleaned out of there, that grease is displacing some water. That belly is likely less significant than it actually appears there. Either way, at that distance from the home in plastic pipe, especially with these hard dives right before it, I mean, the only thing I'm seeing collecting here is grease. There's no blockage evidence, no debris stuck to the top of the pipe that tells me this is ever blocked or even partially backed up. But before I go and start calling out bellies and their dimensions, I honestly, I'd like to see the line cleaned out, because once you get the grease out of there, likely that belly is going to be smaller than it currently looks. I get far more concerned about bellies that are right up next to the foundation of the home. At 70 feet out like that, or 65 feet, if you block, you've got to fill up a lot of pipe before you get back to the house. And in doing so, that head pressure that's created often pushes blockages through. Now, the belly we're going through currently is a more significant one. This one I am seeing debris deposits at the top of the pipe. Again, before I go and locate, if this is displacing water, this belly could be a bit larger than, or a bit smaller in length anyway, than it appears today. So I'm not going to go out and mark it, because I don't want to put incorrect dimensions down on the ground and have someone over fix a belly. But this one here does appear to be relatively significant, because we're getting debris stuck to the top of the pipe here, which tells me the line is filling up completely to the top of the pipe, which means that it's either clogging or clogging and then breaking loose on its own. Either way, that is occurring. And I'm seeing stain deposits at the top of the pipe still leading back to the home. So those are ones that likely, after this thing's all cleaned out, I would likely recommend repairs on. Now, that doesn't mean the blockage is going to happen every day of the week. It makes it more likely that debris is going to collect. You can see how much junk built up in those areas relative to the rest of the sewer line. So it's a pinch point where debris is likely to build up. You have a little tiny lip there on the flow line at the joint that doesn't appear to be doing anything. The joint there appears to be intact as well. It just looks like there's a little extra piece of plastic that wasn't completely cut off when the line was put in. As far as all the plastic pipe goes, it all appears to be, as far as I can tell anyway, appears to be intact. I don't see any breaks in it. So once again, we have multiple bellies throughout the line. Because of the buildup, I don't want to go put any, and honestly, I can't put markings down right now anyway. There's too much rain going on outside. But the grease can exaggerate those and make them look bigger and longer than they actually are. So I would wait until the line is cleaned before doing a proper assessment of the bellies there. As it sits right now, the line is functioning, but it is draining slow or slower than it should because of the buildup and in part due to the bellies. The one thing I do recommend a repair on today is the crack in the pipe at 95 feet. The rest of it, again, that belly there that started around 40 feet, that is likely one I would recommend a repair on. I don't want to go mark it out today because I may mark out a larger section that actually needs to be repaired. And in general, the lining needs to be cleaned. If you don't do any repairs, make sure this thing is jetted out. It's very important to do that, and rescope to check any drain cleaning and or repair work. It's very important to do that. The cast iron pipe there at the start, the first 14, and I forgot to zero the foot counter out. It's actually maybe the first 5 or 6 feet. The cast iron appears to be in good condition and has good flow, so I have no issues with that stuff. And then beyond the crack it's a combo of concrete and clay in the roadway. Aside from the crack, the rest of the clay and concrete I would say is in fair condition. It's old, it's showing some of its age, but I didn't see any other obvious issues beyond that going out into that portion of the line. Again, after the line is clean, you may start finding things you didn't see the first time around. There's a lot of buildup in the line. So get it cleaned and rescoped.